Thank you for joining us for this episode of US Law Live. This podcast is brought to you by US Law's official corporate partners, SEA Limited, American Legal Records, Arcadia Settlements Group, Immersion Legal, Marshall Investigative Group, and MDD Forensic Accountants. We very much appreciate your support and partnership.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the US Law Live podcast. I am Pam Halford from the Alabama firm of Carr Allison. I'm located in very hot and muggy Dothan, Alabama, where it has rained consistently for the past 5 days. I am joined by my infamous co-host, Mike Judy.
Hello, Pam. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. How about you?
I'm all right. Raining here almost every day straight about 2 weeks ago, so it seems like we've sent that down to Alabama.
Well, good. I will say I'm very thankful for the rain at the present moment because I got home from US Law's transportation forum in Napa late on Friday night. And when I got home, I had no air conditioner in my house in South Alabama. So that was fun. And I'm really glad for the rain as a result of that.
Well, hopefully you will cool down soon, Pam.
Right. We
Yeah.
are joined by Josh Morris today from Circle K. Josh enjoys these US law functions just as much as I do, I know. How's it going, Josh?
Well, thank you both for having me today.
Of
Yeah, happy to
course.
have you.
Tell
So,
our listeners where you are sitting today, Josh.
I'm located in the great state of North Carolina. I'm in downtown Raleigh, North Carolina, where we are currently having quite a bit of rain today too. I think there's some flash flooding going on, but it's much needed. We've been in the muggy weather, much like the whole country has the last couple of weeks. So I'm
Yeah,
more than welcome it. Plus, it's not the weekend, so that's fine.
that's so true. It makes it easier to sit behind these screens and work away when it's ugly outside.
Yeah. So, Josh, for those who don't know you, I guess tell us a little bit about your background, your position with Circle K, and what consumes your day-to-day work life.
It's a lot. So I'm personally, I'm a native North Carolinian, born and raised in central North Carolina in a kind of small town of Sanford, about 30 minutes south of Raleigh. Went to East Carolina University out in Greenville, Eastern North Carolina. Go Pirates. That was many moons ago. I have been with Circle K since 2012. So I just hit 13 years. I've been in progressively responsible positions since I started. Like I said at the beginning, I'm currently the senior manager of North American claims, meaning I am over all third-party liability claims for the United States and Canada. So premise liability, auto liability, meaning private passenger and fuel hauling. So most of my days, I do have my own workload, and I also manage a team of 8 folks ranging from lower level adjusters to adjusters with 15 plus years of experience. So we see it all here.
How did you start with Circle K, Josh? What was the first position you had?
It was my first job. We were actually the pantry, which I believe Pam probably knows in the Southeast. Our brand name was Kangaroo Express, but Circle K acquired us in 2015. So my seniorities with Circle K, sometimes I forget about the pantry, but I joined the pantry in 2012. It was pretty much my first job out of college. It was an admin type role in our risk management department. Circle K acquired us in 2015. I had just moved over to the claim side of our risk about a few months before that. So I was pretty lucky with that transaction. And I've just been moving up ever since then. But I really out of college, had no idea what I wanted to do. My degree was in business management, so it's kind of basic and broad. Looking back, I wish I would have done something a little different than that because at the time I thought it was a good idea to do something broad, but looking back, I wish I would have done something specific. Had no idea that I would enjoy this career field like I do. I don't think I'd be in it 13 years if I didn't. So I really just fell into it. Had a great boss. Still had the same boss from back in 2015. We worked well together. So really just fell into it and have enjoyed it ever since.
I think you are in a very, very small minority of people who say, I really enjoy risk and claims. Um, it's been
I
a
always
great
I always have to
13
preface
years.
that when I tell people what I do. I said, I know it sounds boring, but it's really challenging. There's not a single day that's the same as the day before. Get to do cool things such as this. So it has its advantages.
So, what advice would you give to people like yourself? And I find it fascinating. You said you started kind of as an admin and then have worked your way up, obviously, in seniority. So, what advice would you give to folks who, are looking to build a career and to make those next steps? I mean, what have you done that you found successful?
I really think you have to be a part of a good team, a good support system. I mentioned my boss earlier. Not looking for brownie points. We're good friends, but we're also
I'll
we
make
know.
sure to send this to him, Josh. Don't worry.
Well, she luckily I got her approval for this, so we're good. I'll send it to her. But you got to have a good support system and people that believe in you. And if you to as far as what Michael just asked, as far as advice, if you don't have that kind of support system, especially at a younger age, at what I was when I first joined Circle K, find something else. There are, honestly, in this career field, there's a lot of jobs. But to me, you got to find a support system that's going to give you the opportunity to grow so that you can take advantage of that and better yourself in your career. But,
And then the flip side of that, the working your way up and now you're managing people. I guess what tips, tricks, techniques, advice would you give to folks in a position like that of managing people to be a good boss to those below you and build a good environment and teamwork?
so that's actually something that Circle K really prides itself in. I've been a part of multiple leadership classes where I've had to go like it's. I did one during COVID, so that one obviously wasn't as fun. It was remote, but I've had to go like to our Charlotte office for a week and do a progressively responsible leadership class. So I've been given the tools to learn how to be a good leader, but it's mostly to me it's empathizing, listening to people, being flexible, showing that you care. And because in reality, you're here, everybody's here to make money as their job. They're here to take care of their family or whatever. But the better you build your team, the more oftentimes you're not going to have to replace those people, or you're going to be able to promote those people, and so that they stay longer. So just really taking care of people, listening to them. Oftentimes people have family issues. You want to be flexible. We're extremely flexible here. We do have like our required time in the office and required time to be available to our internal and external customers, but offering flexibility to people so that they may not have to use PTO for something simple as like a doctor's appointment. But it's really simple to make sure that you show that you care about your folks.
What you said required time in office, I assume that developed post-COVID. Is that right?
Yes, so we're actually going back to the office 5 days a week in less than 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so that's a big change, but it's for the good. I really we've kind of lost the personal aspects of our job. I like going back to me coming up in our industry or with Circle K. I had the benefit of sitting right next to people who had many years more experience than I have. So like while we are successful working remotely, like we can 100% do our jobs. I think the lower level people on my team have lost a little bit of that personableness, like just looking over your cubicle and saying, "Hey, have you ever seen this situation?" or something like that. So yes, we've been a hybrid since COVID, but we are going back full time starting in a couple weeks.
That's what I find really interesting, and we talk about at a lot of different industry events is, you know, I want to be flexible with the younger folks, and I think that's what they want. People, new to this career, but you really do lose that opportunity to engage with your peers and even your supervisors. It's a lot easier, I think. It's a lot easier to walk down the hall and plop down in somebody's office and while you're shooting the breeze, bring up some issue like of the law or roundtable of claim than it is craft an email to come up with what you're going to say about this claim that you want to roundtable or this issue that you want to spot. Um, and there's a very wise Real Housewife that said, "Say it, forget it, write it, regret it." And so, I mean, I think that stands true in this instance too. If I go down to my supervisor's office and I say something stupid, the likelihood that he's going to forget it is pretty high. But if I write it, God, he can look back on it anytime he wants to. So I'm all for going back to the office, and maybe I'm in the minority there, but I think it's a good move.
I definitely think any kind of mix or just being in the office. I'm in the office, my Circle K office. I'm with operations folks, I'm with claims folks, accounting people. So you really get a better idea of how or what other people do with your company that you may not work with every day. So
Yeah. So you mentioned you do premise, auto claims, fuel hauling. What's the percentage split? What keeps up most of your time?
definitely premise. We
Yeah.
have over 7,500 stores, I believe, in the US, and we're constantly growing by building and acquiring new stores. We've had at least one acquisition go through this year where we purchased a C-store company, but definitely premise your normal. Most of our claims are slip, trips, and falls inside or outside the store. But of course, we are a 24/7 business, so we are in most markets we're 24/7. So we are going to have many types of claims at all hours of the day. But most of it's definitely premise work.
Yeah.
With that premise work, Josh, is there something that you're seeing, some trend that's just making you crazy?
I would definitely say the result of or after the actual accident, we investigate, we try to find out about treatment and things such as that. We're often seeing, in my opinion, again, my background is in claims. I'm not a medical professional, so it's definitely my opinion. But I'm often seeing where someone 6 months post date of loss is saying that all of these types of things are wrong with them. They've treated for things that there's no way this slight trip and fall could have caused it. So, like, day before day of loss, they're in this condition. The day after the date of loss, they're the same condition, but 6 months down the line, they may have like a cervical recommendation or have completed a cervical fusion. And I really feel that it's just an area that I wish wasn't so hotly contested because I think we've gotten away from what's fair, what's reasonable, common sense. So that kind of thing really, I don't want to say it keeps me up at night because I do, I try to keep a work-life balance, but it definitely is something that I have my eye on, and different states definitely have their eye on. There's been tort reform recently that's been a little more favorable for that. Other states are doing it. And speaking of other states, by the way, we're in 47. So imagine doing this for 47 different states.
That makes
um,
me want to throw up.
yeah,
Uh,
luckily most of them are similar, but when you got your LOPs in Texas, that's stuff that really it's going just back to reasonable and fairness. That's all it
yeah.
is to me.
No, I mean, and that's so true. I mean, I find anyway that if you've got somebody after a slip and fall or whatever the mechanism of injury is, and it's a knee injury, and you're dealing with the knee, the lawyer you're working with is everything's focused on the knee. It's easy to address that. It's easy to evaluate it, in most cases. But then when you throw into your point, a neck, something else, well, now they've got a head injury and all these other things. To me anyway, it's like, well, is the knee really hurt? And so now you're spending time fighting over the injury that we may otherwise all agree on. And
Mhm.
it's a pain. So again, I don't know why anybody would want to do what we do.
I
Uh,
agree 100%.
well, when you
Um,
say it like that,
um, I recently was at a panel council meeting for one of the trucking companies that I represent, and somebody spoke about this issue in Georgia. And kind of what we discussed was these doctors who are doing performing care at the direction of counsel. And it was just such an interesting, it's things that you know exist, but you hope that it's not true or it's a one-off. What we learned was there is a particular provider. It's Ortho Sport and Spine in Atlanta. There's a particular provider, and they're one of them that has shell companies established to hide different medical records. And then there's different ways that you can drill down inside of the medical records to reach these like kind of golden nugget notes where it will say things like attorney approved multi-level fusion, or liability limits are only 300,000, conservative care required. And it just makes you like, it turns my stomach, and I wonder how much the patient knows that this is happening. Because, in my mind, I think there are some, I mean, I'll just say it, greedy plaintiffs who are like, yeah, I mean, sure, sounds great. Let's go get some more injections and ramp up the value of my case. But then I wonder, when I see these types of notes, do these people even know that it's happening? Because then they've got a doctor saying, yeah, let's do a surgery, but the doctor's not the one who made that surgical decision. It was their lawyer who, I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm not that type of doctor. I can't make a surgical recommendation for my dog, much less another human being. So anyway, it's just an interesting thing. And at the US Law Transportation Forum last week, we talked about this, and it's happening in other states too, and people are figuring this out and figuring out how to drill down and really learn about the connections between plaintiffs' counsels and medical providers. There was just a lawsuit filed here in Alabama by the state against both a group of doctors and lawyers for the exact same issue. That one has more to do with, Josh, like what you were talking about, unreasonable billing, or what appears to be unreasonable billing, based solely on potential value of the claim and relationships with plaintiff's counsel versus actual cost for service. Mike, do you see a lot
Right.
of this?
I mean, I don't get a lot of it being that egregious. What I'm finding a lot of more and more, and it's a handful of firms that are doing it, is you get a particular plaintiff that they have the same primary care physician, or they're seeing one set of doctors for 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is, and then continue with that doctor for 6, 7 months after the accident, the fall, whatever it may be. And then boom, we've got a new provider. And on the intake form, it's, well, who recommended you? And it's Mr. or Ms. Plaintiff's lawyer. And you just have a lot of gold mines at those depositions. Well, how'd you find this person? My doctor told me. Oh, that's interesting. You put the lawyer here as a referral. How'd you find this person? And so that I'm seeing a lot of that, where it's not necessarily directed care, but they're pushing them to their favorite doctors. How about you, Josh? Are you seeing a lot of that in the files you're working?
Definitely. And Pam explained all that a lot better than I did earlier, or that I could have now. But yes, we see that everywhere. Some states are way worse, where it appears that even doctors are traveling across the country to cut people open that may not necessarily need it. They have like a list of clients, and I'm doing quotation marks, where they travel across the country and have to cut multiple people open. And I'm gonna say like one setting, like a buffet. I don't mean to be so brash, but it's that's almost like what it is. And to Pam's question earlier, I do not think the majority of the plaintiffs know that. Nobody wants to. Well, most reasonable person. Um, Nobody wants to be cut open for no reason. If they don't, like we're all aging. I sit most of the day, so I'm sure my lower back is shrinking as we speak. So I mean, nobody wants, like I said, nobody wants to be cut open. People want to know what's going on with their health care, but they're just I'm making assumptions because I've never worked for a plaintiff's firm, but they're getting updates for their files. They're likely not knowing what's going on with the billing or anything like that. The plaintiff's counsel, they're inflating them and getting the set offs at the end to get a bigger settlement. So, I mean, if we could eliminate all this, if people were, like I said, going back to the beginning, being reasonable and fair in the beginning of the claim, accepting responsibility where you're supposed to or where you should, not supposed to. So, yes, to answer Mike's question long-windedly, we see it everywhere.
Hey,
What do you
this is the
think?
place for long-winded. I can promise you that.
Yeah, and you're with the 2 stars of long-windedness.
Oh, 1000%.
Josh, what are the states that you think are the worst offenders here?
Right now, for me, it's Texas. We assign the higher exposure claims and litigated claims. We assign to 3 people on my team, including myself. It was Florida, but they got some common sense to them in March of 23. So that's been, other than dealing with that backlog of Florida, the filings, which we're finally starting to breathe with those. Florida used to be the culprit, but right now it's Texas, and they just tried tort reform in Texas. And despite the Texas state legislator being very conservative, it did not pass. So for me, it's Texas. It's basically like what Florida was 3 years ago. You got your letter. You got similar firms as Morgan and Morgan. Got Thomas J. Henry out in Texas, who they go to mediation. Despite us having to go to mediation with full authority, they show up with someone who does 0 authority. So Texas has definitely, for me, become the new culprit for unreasonableness.
Lovely. Love to hear that. It's these southern states.
Yep. And Texas has what's the word? The term I'm looking for. There's like every walk of life in Texas. I'm struggling. You got the Valley. I've been to Texas once in my life, but I feel like I know. I just telling one of my Texas attorneys the other day, I know the geography just like I do North Carolina. So I mean, you just have all walks of life in Texas, and it takes you 9 hours to drive to the other side of the state. So it's a whole different world over there.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, what you been to this summer?
I spend a lot of time at the beach. We're only 2.5 hours from the southern coast of North Carolina, South Carolina. So I've been a beach bum since I was 3 or 4 years old. We have my family has a place at North Topsail, which is about an hour north of Wilmington, or right beside Camp Lejeune. I'm sure most attorneys know where Camp Lejeune is based on all the commercials on TV for mesothelioma.
Yeah.
So that's also yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I spend a lot of time at the beach. I golf, not well, but it's just something fun to do on the weekends with friends and buddies.
So are you the beach bum that just plants yourself in the sand and sits there? Or are you going fishing, going surfing?
I think you have an inkling since you said what I do first. So yes, I am a beach bum. I sit there. I have friends.
You and me both, Josh. We could go to the beach together.
Yeah, we where I go to the beach, we can drive out year round. So nice. I just take my truck out there and put it in reverse and get my chair out. I watch my friends fish, but it's not really my thing. It's a little, they're working while I'm chilling. So that's definitely my choice at the beach.
I envy you both. I can't sit that long. I have to be moving.
Yeah, my brother, he works outside. He's a blue collar worker, and he had heat exhaustion last week from the heat we've been having.
Oh wow!
And he sees me sitting outside in the sun at the beach. He's like, I have no idea how you do that, because he can't get out of the sun fast enough, and here I can't get in it fast enough.
Yes, it's so great. What are you listening to when you're out there sitting on the beach, Josh?
Ooh, I'm a little bit of a podcast listener.
You mean you listen to the US Law Podcast weekly.
I have listened to it
There you
before. Shout out Jenny Murphy. I had to listen to her
There you go.
podcast. She's a great industry colleague. So yes, I do listen to the US Law podcast. I listen to Joe Rogan like everybody else in America. Music wise, I listen to everything. I could be listening to 90s hip hop to I don't know, some pop Gen Z music. I don't know how to speak current language. But I listen to mostly country. I don't need to leave country out, but I listen to everything.
Yeah. I mean, the new lingo with I have a soon to be 16-year-old, and half the time I have to tell him, like, you need to speak in something that I can understand. Like your lingo, your slang, I don't know what any of this means. And frankly, when he texts me, I don't know if he has a comprehension of the English language. I mean, it's scary. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's real
Like,
for sure.
give me one good example of something, Mike. I need to be.
Oh, I mean, and not to make people wait while I go through our text message exchanges, but the
I
other
need to be
day,
included in the Judy family text, I think.
oh no, this was just between he and I. I was asking him if he was going to come home, and I was like, "Hey, are you going to come home soon?" He goes, "Yeah. Can I bring the fellas with me? We be staying for a while, but we want to pop out the house at some point." I'm like, "I don't know what that means." And then he responded, so I said, "Huh? Speak English." And he says, "I don't want to make you feel like you are making me and my friends come to the house early because I need to watch my little brother. We were also wanting to do things outside of the house." And I was like, "Now that's how you construct a sentence." But
Absolutely.
are me and the fellas gonna be popping out? Like, I don't know what that means.
We be at the house for a while, but we be
I
popping
mean,
out.
and maybe I just revealed to the rest of US law that I'm a terrible parent and don't know how to teach my kids proper English, but
You obviously do because he was able to do it.
And took the words out of my mouth. I was like,
yeah,
you corrected him.
well, that
Right.
probably came from his mother. He's like, I don't want to speak like my dad. I want to talk more like my mom.
Yeah.
And so are you trying to say that your wife says popping out?
No, 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 no. When he gave me the second response, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to use,
Oh,
yeah."
okay. All
No,
right.
you know that Mary Jane is much smarter than I am.
I am very well aware of that.
Yeah. So how often do you get out and golf, Josh?
I just golfed last weekend, but it was the first time, and don't ask my score. It was the first time in a while. I used to golf honestly about 2 or 3 times a week, but I'm sorry, not a week, a month. I wish I could golf 2 or 3 times a week. If I didn't improve after that, there's something wrong with me. But yeah, I usually try once, maybe twice a month. I like playing in like charity tournaments. Again, not because I'm good. Like when you're trying to raise money, not like a celebrity pro-am or anything. Just like your local nonprofit kind of tournaments. They're always a good time to hang out with friends and have a good time.
Yeah. Sounds like you and I would fit well together on the golf course. I'm not that good either, but do you like to have fun and do you
Yeah.
not take it too seriously? If you can meet those two requirements, then I'll golf with you.
Yep, 100%. I like at the US law events and stuff, I usually do not play golf because I am not playing with good people.
That is everybody at US Law would love to have you play, Josh.
Uh,
so
What's your go-to when you're out at a US Law event?
I usually like to try something new. Well, there's usually 2 days, so one of those is almost always a pool party.
Me too.
Um,
I do that every time.
so I usually don't miss at least one of the pool parties, but oftentimes I'll have like horseback riding, or I did rock rappelling in Arizona last spring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that was a lot of fun. It sounds like I was like on the side of Mount Everest. It wasn't anything dramatic like that, but it was fun to me because I've never done anything. It wasn't that easy either. I have a video of a U.S. law attorney doing it with me, and it's fun. He fell into me.
Who was it?
uh, Ryan Perkins out of Mississippi.
Oh,
Yeah.
how funny. I was talking about Ryan yesterday with Allison Sauceman. We were talking about what a good time he is, but I would
Oh yeah.
truly love to see the video of him falling
Oh yeah, well, it's
into
on
you,
my.
Josh, if that's what the video shows.
If we can figure out how to throw these in, and I've heard podcasters say this, into the show
In the
notes, we'll do
notes.
that.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
Look,
But we're not
professional
that
now.
savvy. We'll have to get Connie on it.
Yeah, oh, I definitely still have it on my phone. Some of the other folks, we were rappelling at the same time, and I'm over here using my hands like people can see me, but we were rappelling at the same time, and it was tough. Like he kind of lost his footing and just like fell over into the side, kind of slowly. That's what made it funny. Nobody was close to getting hurt or anything. He recoiled fine, and we finished. We did well.
Was it a long excursion, this rappelling?
No, no. We got dropped off on the side of the road in Phoenix or Tucson. I don't remember where it was. I think it was Phoenix. And then when I say drop, I mean we took like one of those big buses. I don't remember, but it was like an excursion. And then we did have to walk up I'm gonna say mountain, but it's like 100-foot rappelling, which isn't that high. But again, I got pictures that make it look like it was really high.
I love that, and I'm glad that you clarified, that it was a like planned excursion and all that,
Yeah.
because when you say I got dropped off on the side of the road and I had to climb to go up to come down 100-foot rappelling, it makes US law sound pretty bobo
Oh yeah,
for
no, no, no.
anybody who's listening. So I'm glad that we can clarify that this was a planned thing. You had a bus.
We had tour guides. We had
Okay.
professionals. So yes, my bad, US law. I probably did have to sign a waiver, so I guess I was risking my life, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, the bus ride, US law doesn't have the best track record with bus rides. So
Yeah.
we need to start having like a bus ride waiver more than
Yeah.
like you can rappel at your own risk, or at our risk rather, but the bus ride is all on you.
I agree. Oh, well, I'm not going to fault the bus drivers because I've never had a bad experience. So,
It's never been like terrible. We just get lost a lot.
oh, lost. Yes, we got
Yeah,
lost on the way to that rock
right?
rappelling. Yes, yeah, yes. We get lost often. Yep.
Well, Josh, this was a super fun conversation. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank
Mike,
you for having me.
always great to see you, my friend.
Always good to see you. And Josh, you were great. It was great talking with you.
Thank you. First podcast down.
There you
Watch
go.
out, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, you're coming for him.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to another edition of US Law Live, brought to you by US Law's corporate partners. We will see you again next week. Bye.